All right, away we go. If you have a number 1 through 15 and you want less than 9, well, that's 8 numbers. So it's the denominator is 15, and the numerator would have to be 8. 8 out of 15. Number 2, add the like terms. So you have two terms that are alike. They're both cube, and it should make negative 16x cubed plus 9x squared. Answer J. This would be a plug-in or a stow on the calculator. X is 2, so I would go 2 stow x, and then type it in, whatever it says. 10 plus 3, open. And what's inside those parentheses? 12 divided by 3x, with the 3x being in parentheses double closed. So the answer should be 16. Answer B. This is a abs, 6 minus 4, and 3 minus 8. Abs 6 minus 4 minus abs 3 minus 8. And the answer is negative 3. G. Number 5, top of the next page, that's a FOIL. You could use my program and hit 4, negative 3, 3, 1. So if you wish, you may use the FOIL program, and what was it you hit? 4, negative 3, and 3, and 1, just the coefficients. Of course, it's going to be unsatisfying. 12x squared minus 5x minus 3 does not translate into C's and D's, just that. 1/4 earn A's, 1/3 earn B's. So if you times it by 1/4, that's how many A's you've got. And if you times it by 1/3, that's how many B's you've got. And it's going to be 105 from 180. So 180 minus 105 should give you 75. I'll do it later, because I'm doing this video for the my after-school class, which is canceled. 6 years means X is 6. So it's 3 times 2 to the 6th power. Should give you, I put 3. Should be 6. And that will give you 192 fish. Answer B. Next page. We drove from Chicago to Baton Rouge, long drive. At 8 a.m. we were here, so we are at 1 p.m. we're 105. So how much closer are we? Is 510 minus 105. That's how far we've gone. And I think we did it in 5 hours because we are counting 8 to 1. That's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So the answer I got was 81H. Parallel lines cut people proportionally. So you see the 16 is double the 8. So this has to be 14 and this has to be 12. If it's double there, it's double everywhere. And the answer is the addition of those numbers, 42. Moving along, we've got 15 miles, and we want it in minutes. 2.5 hours is 150 minutes. So what is the minutes it would take to run 1 mile? And you cross multiply and solve it and get 10. 11 is a classic plug and chug. We want red marbles, so there are 8 reds out of the 24. So if we add 11 to it, then we would add 11 to the top and bottom. We would get 19 out of 35. That is not 3 over 5. 16 is the correct answer. If we add 16 to the top and bottom, we would get 24 out of 40. Math frac would give me 3/5. 16 is the answer. 2-1 is the midpoint. That's one of my famous programs, midpoint given. So what did they say? They said that 2-1 is the midpoint. So the other point is 6-8. And that will give me the third point of -2, 6. Answer G. They love these overtime problems. If you work a 40-hour week at $15 an hour, you would times the 40 by 15, and that would give you $600. For the 6 hours of overtime, you get $15 times 1.5. So let's see what the overtime would be. It would be $15 times 1.5. That would be your overtime salary for 6 hours. Added to the 600 you get, and that's a payment of $735. However, be careful. You get deductions like taxes and so forth taken out. When you subtract that, the answer would be D. 13 is D. 14 is the go shopping. If you buy 3 bags of grapes, that's the price per bag is $3, so that would be $9. If you buy 4 bags of grapes, that would be 4 times $2.80 plus the 9 that you spent. You would spend a total of $20.20 on your grapes. But what if you just bought 7 at one time? You'd be spending 7 times 2.60, which is only $18.20. The difference is what you save, $2. 15, a student and I were discussing this yesterday. I like translation. What is 3% of means times 10 to the 4th. I get to put it right into my calculator. If I didn't convince you yesterday, I think I got you today because this one would be confusing if you tried to make a proportion out of it. The answer is 1242, straight through the calculator. 16 is a solver. You distribute the -3, you distribute the 2, you add 10x to both sides, and you subtract 15 from both sides. You divide by -2, and you get -13 over -2, which is 13 over 2. We all know how to use the solver, I hope, to just put that straight in. A lot of y'all have taken kindly to that. Sine of A goes to point A and asks for the opposite to the hypotenuse. The opposite is 7. The hypotenuse is 9. Choice D. This one gives a horrendous formula, but they give me all the plugins. So, do they tell me Z? Yes, it's 2. I'll write it as a proportion. Do they give me X? No, X is what I don't know. Mu is 78, and whatever that thingy is 6. Cross multiply, you would get X minus 78 equals, that would be 12, and the answer is 90F. What do you see here? You do see an acute triangle. Remember, all triangles with radii are isosceles, so this one here is equilateral and acute. You see isosceles because of the right angle. You see the right triangle. Scalene is the one you don't see. Slope is solved for y. It's fun to play at the y equals mx plus b. And the slope is negative 1/5 next to the x, answer G. This one's funny. They like to do number theory a lot, and the number theory is if x is greater than 1, both of these are positive numbers, so it can't be negative. It can't be 0, because the only way it could be 0 would be if x is 0, and it's got to be where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So that's your only possible answer. If you were hardcore, you could solve it for 1.9, and you would get an x that was greater than 1. Everybody else would fail. So the answer right there is the last one. Funny way to ask it, but if you're divisible by 15 and 35, and you're the least common multiple of 15 and 35. So you remember the tip, just do the 35 twice, and you got it. It's 105H. Hope you know your isosceles. It seems to show up all the way. AB equals AC, so the opposite angles are equal. So go 180 minus 58 divided by 2 is 58. I did that wrong. It's 180. That's why you should always use your calculator. It's 122 divided by 2. Answer 61. This is just a ratio, and you put the Alaska over, I'm sorry, wrong test. Which of the following is that would land in water? So what you've got to do is they don't tell you how much water is, so you subtract these two. So you go 3.63 minus 1.48. The units agreed, so it would be 2.15 times I'm sorry, I messed up. You add them for the total, right? So I did it wrong. You add 1.48 and 3.63 for the total, and water is the top. Water divided by the total. I'm ignoring the, so it's about 71%. I'm sorry, I blew that one because I misread it. Happens to y'all, I know, and it happens to me. This is statistics. They give you the mean, median, and mode to save time. So what if I throw a 90 in? The 90 would fit right here. Well, it would increase the average. The mean would be up because you scored a good grade. A good grade always increases your average. but it does not increase the mode or the median. Now, it might increase the median, but you got to do it again. There would be 4 high and 4 low. So the median would be the average of these two, and it wouldn't change. And of course, 90 wouldn't change the mode at all. The mode would stay 80 as the mostest score. This is volume of a box, but it's 6. This is 7 by 5. If you put that in box, you would get 210. Well, that's 210 cubes. Half of them are white and half of them are black. So it's half of 210, 105. Oh, they love this one. The side of a square is 12 by 12. A rectangle is 8 by what? So 12 by 12 is 144. And 8 times what would give you 144? 144 over 8 gives you the answer, 18. Answer to 29 is C. Average is total. You haven't heard me say that. Ha ha. 92 times 4 is 368. And now they play with you. They say the first 3 numbers are the same. The fourth is 40 of the original. Now it's 48, so we're just going to add 8 to that score and get 368 plus 8 divided by 4, and the new average is 94, 2 points higher because it's 8 divided by 4. This one's funny. It uses the concept of the unit vector. I would be 1 mile east, and J is 1 mile north. So if she drives south at 12 miles an hour, she's going south, which is negative 12J. Answer to 31 is B. This is average. You've got 3 cups. You've got 0, 1/4, 1/2, and 4/5. Now, how do I know it's the average? Because we're going to take each one together and divide it by 4, and they would be 31/80ths filled. Answer K. Conversion. Convert 8 1/3 on your fraction bar. 8 1/3 feet is how many inches? 10 feet is 120 inches. So that's an area of that much. My tiles are 20 by 20, which is 400. So how many of them am I going to need to cover 30? Answer D. All right, we've studied this. Answer opposite and square the 9. So it's x minus 8, x minus 5. 34 is F. Study your circle equation. This one was tough. We got 1,000 volunteers. The YQ test is totally accurate. It's obviously more expensive. So it's only $50 to do the SAMs that makes mistakes. So it's $2,500 for 1,000 people, plus $50 for 1,000 people to take the test. 255,000. E is how much it costs. What percent actually carry the disease, or whatever it is, a trait? You look at it, and it's the people that test positive on the good test. So it's 615 over 1,000, which of course is 61.5%. How many did the auxiliary test screw up and give a wrong result? That's easy if you read it. Positive, positive, that's right. Negative, negative, that's right. Here are the ones that are off. So it's 35 people have a screw up on their test. Then finally, a positive SAMS test means these are the people who had a positive, so 610 of them were wrong. So how many were wrong? 10 out of 600. If you do that on a calculator, you get 0.016666, rounds to that. Those were tough. You can do this on the calculator. X is a 1x2 matrix. And Y is the opposite. We're going to times them. Takes a while to change it, doesn't it? It takes me longer because I'm on a machine that doesn't really respond to the taps. So here we go. It's negative 10 and negative 2, negative 1. Choice D. Tough for me. No line of symmetry would be a scalene triangle. Line of symmetry would be something that would divide it in half. So like a square would have a line of symmetry. These two sides equal. A pentagon would. A parallelogram would. It's a scalene triangle with no sides equal. It would be impossible to have a vertical line of symmetry. I hate those. A quadratic, 24, 2, and negative 15. Negative 15, because I have to kick it over, huh? And the larger of the answers is 3/4. Straight into the calculator for those that don't have the trig. Sine 60, cosine 30, plus cosine 60, sine 30 is 1. Now match it up and see which one of these guys is 1. It's sine, I'm just saving time, 60 plus 30. You can play with circumference on this, but circumference formula is 2 pi r. So 12 pi is 2 pi r. Divide by 2 pi, r is 6. And the area is 36 pi. You can use both programs for that. 25 liters, that is 40% solvent. And we're going to add pure solvent. How much? So I just say 25 is 40% solvent. Now I'm going to plug and chug. What if we add 10 solvents? Then we would have 35 liters total, right? Because we started with 25 liters. So half of that, 17.5, should be solvent. So what's 25 times 0.4? So 10 plus 10 would give me 20. That's too much. So it must be a lower number. Let's try 5. 5 would mean we have 30 liters. And we've already shown that we had 10 before. 10 plus 5 would be 15. There's your answer. Killer cross. Common denominator is x plus y, x minus y. And you should get, when you cross, x squared minus xy plus xy plus y squared. And those cancel. And you end up with x squared plus y squared over the difference of two squares. When you FOIL this, you get x squared minus y squared. Don't worry about the quarter page. Mary sold twice as much as Carlos did. James was 3 times Mary. So what fraction of the total? Add them up, you get 9x. Carlos sold x, so it's 1/9. Famous counting one. I have 3 spots to put my plants. I have 6 plants. How many can I put in this spot? 6 times 5 times 4. For you counting people, that's 6p3. I just multiply the 3 of them and get the answer 120. Not a hard triple here. What is the area of the triangle? Well, it's 1/2 the altitude times the base. It's turned upside down, so the base starts at 2a and ends at 6a. And the altitude starts at 0b and ends up at 5b. Multiply that together and you should get G 10ab. Sorry, checked the wrong one. M will remain fixed and Q will move along the axis. So M is fixed and Q goes along the axis. And the question is, what will happen to the slope? Well, the slope is negative. As Q slides this way, it's going to get more downward, but a higher negative, a higher number. So let's see what the choices are. That it's actually increasing because it's getting to be a lower negative. This one's pretty basic. 5a plugged in. If you plug in 5a, that's x is 5a. Where does the graph go? Up, 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 up. It looks like it hits here. Answer should be 8b, K for that one. Jurors. 12 jurors will be selected from a pool of about 60 people. So 40% of the people who are summoned actually appear. 1/3 are excused. If the same trend continues, how many should we have as close to 60 people for the jury pool? So start with an X. I don't know the number. Of that X, only 40% appear. So times it by 0.4, right? And then 1/3 are excused. So of that, we only get 2/3 of the people to equal 60 for the pool, huh? So if I'm solving that, I would use equation solver. Equation solver should be X times 0.4 times 2/3 should equal 60 for my pool. Okay. I have to hit alpha solve. 225 is the answer. Our favorite. Every 4 repeat, so divide this by 4, and it's the remainder. Who remembers that from class? It goes 68 times, so the remainder's 3, so it will be a 9 for our repeat. Okay? Remainder theorem in place. 53 is cool. You have to do f of g of x, then solve it. You copy g, plug it into f. You must square that binomial plus 9 minus 4, and I'll work upstairs. You're solving this quadratic to 0. It factors as x plus 5 and x plus 1. And that would give you -5 and 1. -1. About 20 minutes. Then we go to this one. I make up numbers. N is a negative number. N is a positive number. So how about 6 is P and N is -2. So this one would give me 8/6. This one would give me 8/-2. Remember, it's the absolute value. This one would give me 4/8, so no way. This would give me 4/6, no way. And this would give me P plus N would be 4/-2, which is -2. I think the biggest one is that one. You could do that on STO if you choose. Last few. This could be done on your calculator. Remember, some of the banner calculators can't handle it in fraction. So what you want to do is go with the parentheses, I plus I squared plus I cubed divided by I cubed plus I4 plus I5. negative 1. Tricky, tricky. This is a line with a y-intercept negative 1/2. I'm sorry, y-intercept 3 and a slope of negative 1/2. It's also less than, so we should be shading under that, not over it. The other guy is sneakily a circle. You would put the 3y squared over, 3x squared plus 3y squared is greater than 12, and divide everybody by 3. So it's a circle whose radius is 2, so it doesn't go over the y-intercept. This would be like a 4. And it's going to end up being the ones outside the circle because the circle is greater than its radius. So the answer is K. Tricky here. Given B plus C, D's got to be 0, huh? So ABC has to be 0. And AC is 1. So given all this information, the only thing you know is that B is 0. Recognizing the graphs backwards, a couple of things going on here. The first is the amplitude is reaching how high? The graph is 3 high, so these guys are dead. It's got to be a 3. Now, what about the period? It looks like this is 2 pi. Rather, this is pi, based on the fact that this is a half. So it's going through its period twice as fast. Remember, the period is the multiplier divided, 2 pi divided by that. So 2 pi divided by 2 would give me K. That's the graph. This is definitely a law of sines. Now, I actually did it with 120 and 60. The sine of 60 is to 240, as the sine of 45 is to x. I cross multiply, get 240 times the sine of 45. And then divide by the sine of 60. And I get that answer 195, which ain't on there. It's got to be one of these radicals. So I try 80 radical 6. And that works. 80 radical 6. Very tricky 60. I pay $15 for the first copy, but $12 for each additional copy. How much for Y books? So a lot of people do that and forget we're not paying every book. We're paying starting at the second book. So it's the trick is it's Y minus 1. So you end up with 12Y plus 3. Well, deeble, that's all, folks, in 40 minutes.